So I wanted to take a second and just make a comment about this China crash, the 737-800. First, it's not a MAX, so the MCAS, or Maneuvering Characteristic Augmentation System, is not the issue. They've rewritten the software so that it only does one or two loops, unlike Unlimited, which was the problem initially for the MAX. This is an 800, so that's not the problem. The only way an airliner can descend from 29,000 feet down into the ground in 2 minutes, the only possibility is, and this is a recreation, the rolling is not known now. We don't have the data recorder information yet, so we don't know the roll. It unlikely didn't roll, or it likely did not roll. But this is almost unquestionably pilot suicide. The only way you're going to keep the airplane trimmed and pointed straight down continuously for 2 minutes is to hold the stick forward and trim the aircraft forward. And this is almost definitely pilot suicide. And I don't know if we're babying the communist Chinese. We don't know any of the background of this pilot. Was this a Western pilot or a Chinese pilot who was upset? But this is a big problem. There have been 4 or 5 of these now in the last 10 or 15 years. And it seems like they're on the increase. But this is almost undoubtedly, look at that, a straight descent down into the ground, a little under 2 minutes from 29,000 feet. It also happened right at the moment of the descent phase. So this is the point where this flight yesterday or 2 days ago, before this accident, began its descent into the destination airport. So, the media, for whatever reason, they don't want to speculate, but there's really only one way for this to happen. You could have a runaway trim. That's unlikely to cause a straight descent, and you get some communication from the pilots that there was an emergency. You could even have, dual engine failure, total electrical failure, possibly depressurization. But even in that case, the aircraft wasn't trimmed to go straight down, and as it accelerated down the hill here, there's no way that it would have continued that steady descent. So the only explanation is pilot suicide, but for whatever reason, the media is not even suggesting that. And I think all the experts are beginning to suggest that, but they're afraid of being too forceful about it. But I think if they find the cockpit voice recorder and the data recorder, that it's going to be pretty clear. But we'll run into, if this is a Chinese pilot, if he was upset, if there's some sort of mismanagement, if it was a suicide, like the German one a couple years ago, they'll be very protective of that information. And it's unfortunate. You worry now. If the pilot has a particular, lives in a communist country and is oppressed or upset, if he's a liberal and there's too many Trump supporters in the back, or if he's a conservative and there's not enough Bibles in the back. I mean, what do we got to do here to improve this kind of fatality? Anyway, those are my thoughts.